Good evening, Glades residents, and thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate 7 years of unlocking our community strengths here in the Glades. My name is Annie Iphone, the project director, and tonight we're going to give you an overview of what we've accomplished in this past year. Good evening, Glades residents, and thank you for joining us tonight as we celebrate 7 years of unlocking our community strength here in the Glades. My name is Anne Iphone, the project director, and tonight. Okay. So let's begin. We're going to start off by kicking off our year 6 and going into year 7. We're celebrating 6 years of unlocking our community strengths in the Glades. Tonight, I'm going to give you a brief overview in terms of what is Healthier Glades, what are our goals and our focus areas, what we've accomplished this past year, and what's next for Healthier Glades. First, I'm going to start to talk about our Healthier Glades leadership. 7 years ago, a group of residents and community stakeholders came together to try to bring Healthier Glades into this community. And what happened was Palm Health Foundation invested $1 million into 6 communities throughout Palm Beach County and put the responsibility and the onus of the residents to decide how they wanted to utilize those dollars in our communities to address issues around health and wellness. They had an opportunity to choose between behavioral health, family caregiving, or just overall general health and wellness. And so we reached out to all the communities throughout the Glades from Canal Point to South Bay and had focus groups where we had an opportunity to get feedback from them with how they would want to spend the dollars. And that's how Healthier Glades was formed. Under the leadership of Angela Mitchell and Cynthia Mann, my leadership team consists of residents and community members that help guide the work of Healthier Glades. So the work that you see from me as the director is the work that is decided on by my leadership team. And I would be remiss if I didn't give a special thanks to both Angela Mitchell and Cynthia Mann for serving as co-chairs for at least the past 3 years since I became the director of Healthier Glades. Now, when we talk about our goals, we had to have a roadmap of how we wanted to go about bring about change in our community. And so the residents and the community stakeholders established the mission and the vision for Healthier Glades. So for those who don't know, our vision is that all residents are thriving physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And you may ask why we included spiritually. One of the things I will say in our community, we have a strong faith-based community. And we do a lot of collaboration and partnership with the local churches here in the Glades. And of course, our mission is to assist residents in coping with life stressors and creating a sense of well-being that will impact the Glades communities. Now, how do we know that this will happen? When we start seeing changes in how organizations, communities, and individuals think about their community and what things we see are happening in our community that are bringing about community change. When we start seeing organizations and residents becoming empowered and activated to bring about change in the community, from hosting events to giving back to the community, that's when we know when we start seeing change in our community. Increasing the quality of life by addressing those health issues that we have in our community and changing the behaviors of how we can live better and be more healthy. And optimism about the youth. We are very committed to the youth in our community. So if there's anything that we can do to give optimism and hope for our kids, that there's a life here, there's a life beyond the Glades as well, that they can do anything that they set their mind to, that's when we know that change is happening in our community. So of course, we have several focus areas that we use to guide our work. And the first one is supporting healthy activities. You'll hear when we start talking about what we've accomplished this year, we've placed a lot of emphasis on bringing about community change in terms of health and wellness. We've collaborated with several organizations to provide support and resources to the Glades community. Next, developing and nurturing participation channels. One of the things that we take pride in is that a lot of the work that we do at Healthier Glades is with the voice and the input of the residents and the communities. So you'll see Healthier Glades be involved in a lot of stuff that's either resident-led, city-led, or community-led to try to address issues that are bubbling up in the community. Of course, definitely engaging the community. We're starting to see an increase now of a lot of activities and events and workshops that are geared towards entertainment, knowledge, and skill building. And then last but not least, changing the narrative through our storytelling. One of the things we realize is that if we want people to look at the Glades in a positive light, it starts with us. We have to be the ones that talk about the good things that are happening in the Glades, because folks who are not from here and folks who don't understand what it's like to live in the Glades, they're only going by what they hear from us or what they see on the media. So this year, for year 6, we've accomplished a lot this past year. And I wanted to share with you some of the highlights of some of the things that we worked on and the partners that we have supported this past year. Of course, first I want to talk about health. As we all know, health is wealth. And if you don't take care of your health, it impacts your overall quality of life. So this year, Healthier Glades has expanded our efforts to promote health and wellness, both physically and mentally this year. This year, we have partnered with Florida Atlantic University College of Nursing under the leadership of Dr. Lisa Wiese. And the past couple of years, we have had a coalition, if you will, of both faith-based leaders, community partners, and residents coming together to identify and address issues that we're seeing in our community in terms of addressing chronic health conditions. And so we started out at first with introducing the importance of brain health in the Glades. And now we realize that we're starting to see, based on research, that some of our chronic health conditions are also affecting brain health as well. So if we can get some of those chronic health conditions under control, it won't affect us in our later years when it comes to our brain health. So this year we've expanded our efforts and we've invited partners like the Diabetes Coalition of Palm Beach County, the American Heart Association, Empower Healthcare, as well as Lake Okeechobee Rural Health Network to come and partner with us to provide resources and services of what we can do to bring about and improve the overall health outcomes of our community. So just to let you know the impact that we've had in the Glades this year, from July 1st of 2023 to June 30th, 2024, we have conducted 8 health screenings between churches and community-based organizations. When we looked at brain health screenings, and these are screenings that were conducted by FAU, we screened 135 residents in our community this past year. And so what happened was these residents that got a chance to participate in the brain health screening completed a questionnaire, and based on how they answered the questionnaire, they were given a document that they can share with their primary care provider. And so if there were some things that were a concern, they had something tangible that they could take to their doctor to do further follow-up. Diabetes screenings. This is close to home for me and a lot of residents here in the Glades. And this has been such a great partnership that we've had with the Diabetes Coalition. We've screened 163 residents. And I'm going to take this a step further. Of that 163 residents, we had 44 people that were diagnosed or had a score of 7 or higher as diabetic. 61 of those residents that were screened were borderline diabetic. And then the rest were in normal ranges. So we're starting to see a lot of folks that are starting to become pre-diabetic or full-blown diabetic. This past year, we had 11 people that was so critical that we had to have them go to the emergency room for additional care. So for many of those folks, that means they had their blood sugar were at least over 300. And we had to make sure that they get the help and care that they needed. Last but not least, Empower Healthcare got a grant from the Quantum Foundation to work with residents to learn a little bit more about how circulation works and provide screenings during our health events on circulation, peripheral artery circulation. And so Empower Healthcare had an opportunity to provide screenings at our healthcare events in which 76 residents were screened. And of those 76, ones who came up with concerns, they had information that they could take to their doctor to do additional follow-up. So here's some highlights of some of the events that we've hosted this past year. In December, we did the Diabetes Awareness Day at the Belle Glade Civic Center. And this was in collaboration with the Diabetes Coalition of Palm Beach County. In February is Heart Month. So we collaborated with Empower Healthcare along with American Heart Association. And as you can see here, we have pictures of folks learning about CPR. It was interesting to learn during these health events that a lot of our residents really don't know a lot about CPR. They may have heard about it, they may have seen it, but having the opportunity to actually practice and do it, they never had that experience. So one of the things we're going to be looking at this year is trying to provide opportunities for our residents to learn more about CPR. And of course, FAU, College of Nursing, the faith-based health educators. This is how Healthier Glades got engaged in this work with the help of Dr. Lisa Weesey, and as you can see, them conducting brain health screenings at the health events. So next, I want to talk a little bit about storytelling. And you're probably saying, why are we talking about storytelling? And so one of the things is we look to stories to paint a picture of things that we think about, we feel about, things that we want to see, things that we have seen. And so everybody in our community has a story. And sometimes those stories do not get heard. And so one of the things that we try to do with Healthier Glades is capture those resident stories and resident experiences of how they live, work, and play in the Glades. So this year, Glades Life Facilitators received a grant to continue our efforts of collecting stories that reflect our community strengths. And so this year, we're asking the residents to share their stories with us between July 15th to September 15th. And then in October, we're going to showcase those stories for the community and invite them to hear about what our residents are thinking and feeling. And that will be taking place in October of 2024. And this effort is led by Ms. Blake, who is a member of my leadership team. And she was the one that was awarded the grant to continue this effort to provide the stories for our community. So if you're interested in sharing your story, please scan this QR code. And if you scan the QR code and you submit a story and you enter your name, you will get a chance to be put in a drawing to receive a $25 gift card at our gallery showcase that will be held in October. And we have used these stories. We've been collecting stories now since 2019. And the stories that we've been able to collect has led us to work on issues around walking safety for our kids in South Bay, addressing the needs of the homeless, as we're starting to see an increase in homelessness in our community. We've done mental health. We've offered mental health first aid training to residents that came out of the stories that we shared, and we also had an opportunity to celebrate some milestones in our community. For example, Pahokee celebrating their 100th anniversary. Now, if you are familiar with Healthier Glaze, I know you're familiar with our mini grants. This has been the bread and butter for us since we started back in 2018-19. Now, just to let you know, we started this process when I first came on as the director for Healthier Glades. This was not only just new to us as a leadership team, but this was also new to our community. And it took a while for it to build and grow. But I want you to see the impact that these grants have had. And so for Healthier Glades, this gave us an opportunity to work with residents and nonprofit organizations and grassroots groups to support whatever ideas they had. And as long as it matched with what our focus areas were, they had an opportunity to collect dollars to implement these projects in our community. And so since 2019, we have awarded 49 grants totaling over $130,000. That means that's $130,000 that has been invested locally here in the Glades. So anybody who was awarded a grant, they had to use the dollars here in our communities. They couldn't use it on the coast. They had to use it here. And so this is our way of building resident capacity, one person, one organization, one grassroots group at a time. So this year we awarded 10 awardees, 7 residents, and 3 organizations. We also initiated a grant writing workshop in collaboration with local funders to help build the capacity and apply for future funding. I would like to give a special shout out to Community Foundation of Palm Beach and Martin County, especially Mr. Corey Murphy, who assisted me with getting these workshops off the ground. I'm pleased to report that we'll be offering these workshops to the Glades community sometime in August, September, and we'll be starting our grant writing cycle at the end of September. So be on the lookout for information from Healthier Glades either on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page. So here's some pictures showing some of the things that we awarded this year. In the middle, you see Muck City Sports Network. And this was a grant that was awarded to Steve Messam. And he took his love of sports and he wanted to create an avenue and opportunity for our young people that may love sports, but may not be an athlete, but still be involved in some of the sports that they like. And so he has partnered with some local organizations and schools to train some youth to do a sports network. And you'll see them live coming in July, August, particularly when football season starts. So be on the lookout for them. On my top left, you have Miss Anquinette Irving, and she did a project on prolific readers. And one of the things, she's a licensed mental health therapist, and she realized that a lot of the challenges that she was seeing with the kids is the lack of language. And so she introduced the kids and the teachers and parents using books to help kids express themselves through words and language. At my bottom left, you have Miss Beverly Lee, who is an ESC coordinator. So she has been working with special needs kids for a long time. And she wanted to take her skill set and provide support for the parents or the caregivers of the kids with special needs. So she used her skill set to try to provide workshops and support groups for parents and caregivers on how to support their special needs child outside of the school setting. To my top right, you have Letco under the leadership of Corey Wilkerson, and he established a nonprofit a little over a year ago. And he was awarded the grant to try to work with young people at Crossroads and Everglades Prep to try to reintroduce the love of reading. And so the kids got an opportunity to choose the books of their choosing and create book clubs at their local schools. Because one of the things we realized that neither one of these schools have an after school program. And so they wanted to use this book, use the project as an opportunity to create some type of after school activity for the kids. And of course, last but not least, my bottom right, you have Brianka Spence with Queens Justice Holistic Services. And she did a grant to support pregnant women. And her project had an opportunity to use her expertise as a doula to provide workshops and presentations to our residents who are expecting, and how to give them the resources and the supports that they need. Two of our grants here tonight was also awarded additional dollars through other organizations to continue their work beyond what we were able to offer them through Healthier Glades. Engaging the community. So this year, we've done a lot of things this year to engage our residents and bring things to our community that you usually see on the coast, but you don't always see over here. And so one of our local residents, Ms. Betty Lawson, she was one of our past mini grant recipients, and she wanted to do something to bring some activities for seniors and residents in collaboration with Parks and Rec with Palm Beach County. So she reached out to me, and we were able to connect with Palm Beach County Parks and Rec, and we were able to offer chair yoga activities for our seniors at Pioneer Park in the multipurpose room. This event was only supposed to be from January to March, and we were able to extend it to the end of May. We will be continuing this activity in January thanks to this collaboration. Every year we've done our Get Your Green On campaign to promote mental health awareness and trauma-informed care. And this is near and dear to me, as my background is in mental health. And one of the things we've seen with the pandemic is, as a result of the pandemic, more people are more in tune with taking care of their mental health. And so every year we receive proclamations from the 3 cities acknowledging May as Mental Health Awareness and Trauma-Informed Care. We also do activities to thank our mental health workers. We have case managers, therapists, peer specialists that are doing the work of making sure that the mental health needs of our communities are being addressed. And so we do a networking event where they can bounce ideas off each other, collaborate on some things on how they can do things to better serve the residents in our community. And this year we brought back our Soil to Soul. And this was a project in collaboration with Federation of Families. And what we did was we wanted to use their community garden that was funded by Healthier Glades, and they received additional funding as well to continue their garden in South Bay, and talk about how gardening can improve overall health and wellness of individuals, particularly our seniors. And so we were able to bring this back again this year as part of our Get Your Green On campaign. This year, we did something that we haven't had a chance to do in the Glades since 2018. As you know, in the state of Florida, we are experiencing some trying times with laws and rules around diversity, equity, inclusion. And so my leadership team, several folks from my leadership team have attended a training called Racial Equity Training from the Racial Equity Institute. And so this is a 2-day training where we have residents and organizations build their capacity to better understand racism and how it fits into institutional and structural forms. So a lot of our residents and organizations that got a chance to attend this 2-day training, they were blown away about the history of racism in our country and how it affects different institutions and organizations that impact our lives. So this is a training that's offered as well by the United Way of Palm Beach County. And we're going to try to build a relationship with them to make sure that this training is offered in the Glades every year. And so we're working on that. So be on the lookout for information on when the next REI training will be held. And of course, we're always looking to support events in our community. First one was the Miss Barbara King and KTM with the Senior Citizen Prom. This is an event that is the highlight of the year for a lot of our seniors in the community. This year was held in the beautiful city of Pahokee. Thank you, Pahokee, for allowing us to host the Senior Citizens Prom at your in your city. Next year we'll be in the beautiful city of Clewiston, and that event will take place sometime between the end of May or the beginning of June. Next, we have our men's health and male empowerment and community health fair. A couple of years ago, Miss Christine Bolden, one of my past mini grant awardees, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm working with a group of young men and I want to do something to address health and wellness." And so we came together with a group of other folks and we started this male empowerment and community health fair. We just had our second event on June 8th, and we had over 50 men that came to get diabetes checks, blood pressure screenings, brain health screenings, and circulation screenings. And we know how our men don't like to go to the doctor. So this was huge, and special thanks and shout out to Miss Christine Bolden for her vision. Next, you probably have seen it, but last month we hosted the Juneteenth celebration, Muckteenth, I should say, celebration. A couple of years ago, Colin Walks and Josie and I were talking about how we can celebrate cultural traditions here in the Glades. And then in May, George Floyd happened. And so Colin got a group of folks together and say, "Hey, we need to do something to honor and celebrate Juneteenth." And they affectionately call it Muckteenth. During the pandemic, we started with a virtual celebration, and we have continued this celebration 4 years in a row. So you can always go to Muck City United to watch the virtual celebration. This year, we did a focus from the fields to the classroom, highlighting the education pillars of our community. And then last but not least, the Glades Youth Explosion. 3 years ago, my past co-chair, Reverend Willie Lawrence, had a vision to showcase the talent of the Glades outside of sports. And with the help of Palm Health Foundation and others, we were able to host a youth explosion showcasing the arts in the Glades. And so in the past 3 years, we have been able to give young people funding to for showcasing their talent. And so this year we had our first, second, and third place winners in song, dance, and we had participation awards for everyone who participated and competed. So now what's next for Healthier Glades? As I stated before, we're entering year 7 of the initiative. And so, of course, as time goes by, things shift and change. And so I just want to highlight a little bit of some of the things that we're going to be focusing on for the next year. We definitely want to continue to build our capacity to educate folks about dollars that they can apply for to bring things to our respective communities. So we're going to continue to offer grant writing workshops here in the Glades, as well as support our residents who are interested in applying for funding. We're going to continue to support and promote our health initiatives that we're having out here. So be on the lookout. We have about 10 or 12 health events that are going to be implemented this year starting in August. So we'll send that information out via our Facebook page so that you can come out and participate in these activities. And then last but not least, to do stuff like this, it costs money. And so one of the things that we've been successful with is definitely collaborating and partnering with local organizations to share our resources so that we can continue to do the work that we're doing. Special thanks to the cities of Pahokee and South Bay, who continue to support us and engage in the work that we're doing here in the Glades. Also, we've been able to partner with our local churches, Federation of Families, Palm Beach County Library, and several others. So we're going to continue to try to build those relationships in the Glades, and we want to make sure that when we build those relationships that they continue long after Healthier Glades is done. We're not leaving yet, but the goal is to make sure that what we start continues after we finish. And so with that, I want to take this time and thank everybody for supporting the work of Healthier Glades and what we've been able to do this past year. Be on the lookout for information regarding our mini grants, health and wellness events. Don't forget to submit a story and attend our showcase so that way you can hear what the residents are thinking and feeling in our respective communities. So with that, I say thank you and have a good evening.